You ever think about how one single idea can just change everything? It usually starts with just one person, right? Someone with a big question who just refuses to accept things as they are. Well, that's the story we're diving into. The story of Gertrude Elion, a chemist whose incredible way of thinking is, no joke, still saving lives as we speak. So, to really get what she did, you gotta ask yourself, how do we even invent life-saving drugs in the first place? Because before Gertrude Elion came along, the answer was, well, let's just say it was a mess. It was basically a shot in the dark.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. The old way, it was all trial and error, just a massive, frustrating guessing game. Scientists would literally test thousands and thousands of chemicals, just hoping one of them would stick. But then came this new way, an idea from Elion and her partner George Hitchings. They called it rational drug design. And it wasn't a guess. It was targeted, it was smart, and honestly, it was about to change the entire game.
Okay, so what was this huge idea? Well, Hitchings had this theory, and it was kind of brilliant in its simplicity. He figured, look, all cells, good ones, bad ones, doesn't matter, they all need nucleic acids to grow and make copies of themselves. So instead of just carpet bombing a disease with random chemicals, what if we targeted the very things those diseased cells need to survive?
And the beauty of it was how simple it sounded. The plan was to create, get this, counterfeit building blocks, little molecules that were fakes, right? They'd look just like the real thing, enough to trick a cancer cell or a virus or whatever you were fighting. These fakes would get inside, jam up the works, and stop the disease in its tracks. And here's the absolute key. The whole time, they were designed to leave your healthy cells completely alone.
So, who was the chemist putting this amazing method into practice? Her name was Gertrude Elion, or Trudy to her friends. And what makes her story just unbelievable is that she did all of this without a PhD. She was constantly running into roadblocks, especially as a woman in a scientific world that was, let's face it, a total boys' club. Her journey was really shaped by tragedy and just plain grit. It all started when her grandfather died of cancer. That set her on this mission. She got her master's degree, but then, nothing. No one would hire her for a research job. Finally, in 1944, she gets a break at a company called Burroughs Wellcome, but then she hits another wall. Her school tells her she has to choose, finish her PhD or keep her job. So what does she do? She chooses the job, the hands-on work. And let me tell you, that one choice, it put her on the path to a Nobel Prize. And this right here, this quote really tells you everything you need to know about what drove her. Wow. For her, this wasn't just some abstract puzzle in a lab. It was personal. It was about making sure other people didn't have to go through what her family went through. That was her why. And with a drive like that, you just know a breakthrough is coming. And it did. The first real test for this whole rational drug design idea was a big one. They were going up against one of the scariest diseases imaginable back then, childhood leukemia. The weapon they were creating was something called an anti-metabolite. The best way to think about it is like that counterfeit key we talked about. It looks so much like the real key, a nutrient that a hungry cancer cell wants, that the cell grabs it. But when it tries to put that key in the lock to grow and multiply, click, it jams. The whole system grinds to a halt. The cancer cell is just stuck. So by 1951, after trying out more than 100 different versions of this counterfeit key, they finally found one that worked perfectly. They called it 6-mercaptopurine, or 6-MP for short. And you gotta understand, this wasn't just another random chemical pulled off a shelf. This was a custom-built, precision-engineered weapon designed for one thing, to fight leukemia. And the effect it had? It was immediate and just staggering. I mean, look at this. Before 6-MP, a child diagnosed with acute leukemia had on average maybe 3 or 4 months to live. Heartbreaking. But after 6-MP, that number jumped to a full year. They tripled the survival time, almost overnight. For the very first time, families had real, tangible hope. And that's not even the end of the story. The legacy of that discovery is incredible. That very same drug from 1951, 6-MP, is still a key part of the treatment today. Now, combined with other therapies, it's helped push the cure rate for childhood leukemia to around 80%. Just think about that, from a few months of survival to an 80% chance of a cure. But here's where the story takes a really cool turn. Because their method was so systematic, so logical, it started to lead to discoveries they weren't even looking for.
While they were studying this cancer drug, 6MP, they stumbled onto something completely different, something that would literally open up a whole new world for medicine.
Okay, so here's what happened. Researchers noticed that 6MP seemed to calm down the immune system. So Allianz's team thought, what if we lean into that? They made a few tweaks to the molecule and created a new version called azathioprine. Then a surgeon named Dr. Roy Callan tried using it on dogs to stop their bodies from rejecting new kidneys. And it worked like a charm. The next thing you know, it's 1962, and that exact same drug is making the first successful human kidney transplants possible. Just pause on that for a second. The exact same line of thinking, the same research that gave us a breakthrough cancer drug, also gave us the key to organ transplants. That's just wild. It shows you how powerful and efficient this whole rational drug design idea really was. One idea, saving lives in two totally different ways. So you'd think that'd be enough for one career, right? Nope. Next up, Elian set her sights on what a lot of people thought was impossible, making drugs that could actually fight viruses. This was going to be the ultimate challenge for her method. They were hunting for a real-life magic bullet. And the problem with viruses is they're sneaky. They don't just float around on their own. They invade our healthy cells and turn them into virus-making factories. So the big question is, how in the world do you kill the virus without also killing your own cell that it's hijacked? Well, Allianz's solution was pure genius. She helped create a drug called acyclovir, and it was designed to be the ultimate sleeper agent. It just floats around your body, totally harmless, doing nothing, until it bumps into a cell that's been infected with the herpes virus. See, those infected cells make a special enzyme, and that enzyme is the only thing that can wake up the drug. It's like a secret switch. So let's break that down. In your healthy cells, acyclovir is a nobody. It's inactive, harmless, just passing through. But the moment it enters a cell infected with the virus, bam, the switch is flipped, it activates, and it basically throws a wrench into the virus's copy machine. It stops the virus from making more of itself, dead in its tracks. It was the magic bullet. They had actually found it. So when you take a step back and look at everything she accomplished, it's just mind-blowing. This wasn't one lucky guess. It was a whole career spent building and perfecting a system, a new way of thinking that just kept unlocking one life-saving drug after another. I mean, just look at this list for a second. A drug for leukemia, another one for organ transplants and rheumatoid arthritis, one for gout, one for herpes and shingles. It's like a whole revolution in medicine, all packed into a few bottles. And every single one came from that same core idea of rational drug design. And we're not just talking about theories on a blackboard here. She held 45 patents. 45! Each one of those is a real, tangible tool that she created to fight sickness and make people's lives better. Then, in 1988, the recognition she deserved finally came. The world's top scientific honor. Gertrude Elian, the chemist who never got her PhD because she chose to stay in the lab, was awarded the Nobel Prize in Medicine. Talk about validation. It was the ultimate proof that she'd made the right choice. And this last thought really sums it all up perfectly. Her legacy isn't just something we read about in books. It's happening right now, in hospitals and clinics all over the world. See, she didn't just invent a few important drugs. She invented a whole new way to invent drugs. And because of that, even though she passed away in 1999, Gertrude Elian is, without a doubt, still saving lives today.